I work for a sports field grading company that specializes in renovating, constructing, and maintaining high-quality playing surfaces for baseball fields and driving ranges on golf courses. Our work involves grading, leveling, and improving the overall quality of the turf to ensure optimal playing conditions. When comparing the business and economic environments of Taiwan and Japan presents a more promising opportunity for our services. Japan has a large, well-established economy with high levels of consumer spending, especially on premium services and infrastructure. The country is also known for its love of baseball, which could create strong demand for quality sports field construction and maintenance. However, Japan's market can be highly competitive, and the business environment is formal, requiring a strategic approach to entering the market. Taiwan, on the other hand, offers a smaller market with lower barriers to entry, but it doesn't have the same level of infrastructure or demand for specialized sports fields as Japan. Based on these factors, Japan is a better choice for our company, given the stronger market for baseball and golf-related projects and the larger scale of potential contracts. The competitive landscape may be challenging, but Japan's passion for baseball and strong infrastructure makes it a worthwhile market for our services. When expanding into Japan, understanding the communication differences between Japan and the US is really important, especially when it comes to high context versus low context communication. In the United States, we tend to be low context. Our communication is direct, clear, and we expect people to be upfront with us. However, in Japan, it's the opposite. They are a high context culture, meaning much of communication is implied and understood through nonverbal cues, the setting, and the relationship between people. What's not said is often just as important as what is said. So in Japan, there's a big emphasis on harmony and being indirect to avoid confrontation. For my company, which works on grading baseball fields and driving ranges, this can be a challenge. In our line of work, clear and precise communication is critical, especially when we're discussing technical details or timelines. In Japan, we might find that feedback or concerns aren't always expressed directly, which would lead to misunderstandings or delays in projects. We might also encounter slower decision-making in meetings, as building relationships and maintaining harmony takes precedence. So we'll need to be patient, really pay attention to nonverbal cues, and be proactive in making sure we're on the same page. It'll take time, but adapting to this indirect style will be key to building strong, successful partnerships in Japan. Based on our visit with TBWA Hakuhodo and their COO, Chris Iki, I gained a deeper understanding of high versus low context communication differences between the Japanese market and the United States. Hearing about his experience growing up in Japan and attending an international school, as well as comparing his career from New York to Tokyo, shed an even brighter light on how significant the differences in communication between what I know in the United States and Japan are. Chris shared how in Japan, much of communication is implicit and relies heavily on context, nonverbal cues, and the relationships between people. In contrast, the US is much more direct and explicit, focusing on quickly getting to the point. For example, he explained how, in Japan, people may avoid confrontation or saying no outright, often softening their response with phrases like, "That could be difficult," or "Let me think about it." This was discussed through our discussion regarding their client, Nissan, and how meetings go when they first initially show an ad. The point was also made clear through the ad shown to us, which depicts ordinary people telling artists such as Van Gogh and Frida Kahlo how to be creative. In contrast, Americans tend to be more straightforward, saying things like, "This won't work," or "We need to change this." This cultural difference is significant, especially in a business context where understanding unspoken feedback can be the key to success. During my time in Tokyo, I had the opportunity to observe the local culture of courtesy, particularly on the public transportation system, which reflects the high context communication style of Japan. One experience that stood out was how quiet and orderly everyone was on the trains. Passengers rarely spoke, and there was a clear, unspoken understanding of the need to maintain harmony and respect for others in a confined space. The etiquette wasn't overly communicated through signs or direct instructions, but was understood by everyone. This is a perfect example of high context communication. People didn't need to be told to be quiet or to give up their seat for elderly passengers. these behaviors were expected as part of the cultural norm, and they adhered to them without verbal exchange. However, one of my classmates, who was accustomed to the more relaxed atmosphere of public transportation back in the US, was talking rather loudly during the ride, completely unaware of the cultural expectations. We had to gently remind her to lower her voice, and it was clear how difficult it was for her to adjust at first. This smallest moment underscored how deeply ingrained these unspoken cultural rules are in Japan. Relating this to my recommendation for expanding our sports field grading business into Japan, it reinforced how much attention we'll need to pay to these unspoken cues when interacting with clients or potential partners. Just as people on the train understand the rules through shared cultural context rather than explicit communication, in business meetings, subtle signs of approval or disapproval can be just as important as what is directly said. Building trust and understanding these indirect forms of communication will be key for navigating the Japanese market successfully. In conclusion, when entering the Japanese market, there are several cultural and business considerations to ensure a smooth and successful expansion. First, building long-term relationships is crucial, as Japanese business culture prioritizes trust and partnership over quick transactions. This requires time spent in non-business settings to establish rapport. Formality and politeness are also key, with respect for titles playing a major role in interactions. Gift-giving is another important cultural norm, with gifts typically given to build goodwill and strengthen relationships. The decision-making process in Japan can be slow and consensus-driven, so patience is necessary, as decisions often involve multiple stakeholders. Japan also has high standards for quality and attention to detail, so ensuring your services meet the expectations is essential. The language barrier can be a challenge, but making an effort to learn key phrases or hiring local staff will help bridge the gap. Punctuality is highly valued, and being on time is a sign of respect and professionalism. Additionally, Japan is a highly innovative market with a strong focus on technology, so integrating advanced solutions into your services could provide a competitive edge. Understanding Japan's legal and regulatory framework is vital, especially for construction-related businesses, to ensure compliance with strict standards. Finally, work culture in Japan is demanding, with long hours and strong commitment to duty, which should be kept in mind when planning meetings or scheduling work. By respecting these cultural differences and adapting to Japan's business environment, my company can build strong, lasting relationships and navigate the market effectively.